Hey folks, my name is Adam and I like to make tiny nerdy things. And last week I made Mario and Luigi floating in their cloning vats, but this week I'm gonna make them infinite. How am I gonna do it? With magic. With mirrors. Specifically, these mirrors. These are one-way mirrors, also called two-way mirrors, which is not confusing at all, but under normal circumstances they're pretty normal, everyday reflective surfaces. However, if we were to, say, turn the lights off in the room and then add a source of light behind the mirror, all of a sudden you can see through it. What's more, if you add a second mirror behind the light source, then you'll get a seemingly infinite number of reflections bouncing between the surfaces. And that is how we're going to make our cheat code Mario clones. Of course, the first thing we need to do though is make the rest of the cloning chamber. I've already got my two cloning vats finished, so I can use them to give me a rough estimate for the depth of my chamber. Then the mirror will tell me the width, which I can then transfer to a sheet of XPS foam and cut out a perfectly sized base to start building on. I used these lights last week to light up my cloning chamber and they worked such a treat that it really only makes sense to use them again this week. However, they're pretty thick, so I need to figure out how to lift the floor up enough to allow these to slide underneath. I've measured the height of the foam so that I can cut out a few strips to build a box. However, entirely accidentally, I realized that two of these sheets of foam stacked on top of each other is exactly the right thickness, which means I don't actually have to measure anything, which is good because that really limits the amount of things that I can screw up. So all I need to do then is cut a few strips to the right length and then glue them in place. Now with my initial step up figured out, I can flip it over and set the vats into where I want them to sit. I'll get them into roughly the correct spot, then take the top half off, leaving the bottom section so I can trace them onto the sheet. Then I'll mark out the center of each circle, poke a hole to the backside, then cut each of the circles out. These will be the holes that allow the studio lights to shine up into the tubes, providing the internal illumination necessary for the mirrors to work. Now these are the studio lights that I use every day, so permanently gluing them in place isn't really going to work, so I want to set up a base in such a way that I can easily slide them in and out whenever I need them. Otherwise, with the first layer figured out, I can trim the excess off the sides, then add the second layer. Now to help me line up the mirrors and to make sure that they're sitting square to one another, I'll attach the bottom pieces of foam slightly offset from the base so it has a bit of an underbite, which should help me later when it comes to putting it all together. With the structure of the base figured out, I can start to add the details. I've marked out the center line, and then using my rulers as rulers, I'll draw a set of matching lines down the middle, separating the base into two equal-sized cloning chambers and a single center walkway. And to make building up the details and painting them later infinitely easier, I'm gonna cut the three parts apart, I guess. To start with, I'm gonna add some grates to the floor because I feel like grates really fit into a cloning chamber. Last thing you want after all is one of your cloning vats springing a leak and then leaving you with a puddle of half-baked Mario goo congealing on the floor. To make the grates, I've cut away a section of the floor and replaced it with a thick sheet of cardstock that I can use as a base to stick some extra thin strips of foam onto. And sure, yeah, I could have saved myself a bit of time just by building the base out of a couple different sheets of foam, but that would have involved planning ahead and at over 100 videos. Surely you know by now that planning isn't really something I do here. Otherwise, I'll round a few edges, then add a wall. I want the cloning vats to be the stars of the show, so I'm gonna try and keep the rest of the chamber somewhat subdued, but even then I can't just leave the walls blank. Instead, I'm gonna try to add some basic greeblies and various textures until it looks just busy enough. Now, while I was making sure that the walls were 90 degrees to the floor, I had a real Bob Ross moment and realized that my little square was the perfect shape and design, so I went ahead and made a couple more out of foam to brace the walls and to separate each of the chambers. I'll make the ceiling as a single sheet of foam later, but to help support it when it comes time to glue it in place, I'll make a really simple shelf along the top, then I can get to work adding all the various little greeblies to help make this wall a little less boring. Now, if you're ever not sure how to make a flat surface a bit more interesting, I recommend rivets, or in my case, bolts. I make my bolts en masse out of clay using a little mold I have, but I know lots of crafters who go crazy bedazzling their work with sequins, and their stuff turns out fabulous. I, however, prefer bolts. Now to make some tubes though, I'm gonna use this stuff. This is monster clay, and it looks better than it tastes. It's also wax-based, which means it'll never cure, and if you put it in the oven, you'll be left with a scalding hot puddle of cursed chocolate. However, at room temperature, it's nice and firm, so it should be perfectly fine to make my pipes out of, as long as I don't mess around with them later. Also, I live in Scotland, and if it ever gets warm enough here for this clay to start to soften, then we've all got bigger things to worry about anyways. Finally, before I get to putting it all together and priming it, I thought the roof would be a little bit boring without anything but roof tile. However, the mirror that I have isn't really tall enough to allow space for adding ductwork or tubing, so instead I'm going to make a single fluorescent tube light and pop that in the middle. And as far as solutions go, I'd say this one is pretty bright. Otherwise, with one wall finished, I made the second one off camera, zhuzhed up the middle walkway, and well, the ceiling's just a flat piece of foam with a light in the middle, which means everything is built and ready to be painted. Now normally I like to give all my foam a coating of black Mod Podge as a base coat, but I know that I'm going to be painting the base with a lot of light metallic colors, so to make it a little easier, I wanted to give everything a coat of gray primer instead. Now the astute among you may have noticed that I still primed everything with black anyways, and yes, you are correct. Turns out I have the memory of a goldfish, and I immediately forgot and primed it all black anyways. Fortunately, having the airbrush means that I can do a dozen coats with relative ease. Could I have just reprimed it with a quick coat of white? Yes I could have, but I didn't. Instead, I spent way longer than I should have trying to get a shiny yellow metallic wall. Now, why are they yellow? Well, I made the cloning vats Mario tube green, so I thought painting the walls with a metallic yellow would be a nice homage to the yellow question blocks. Otherwise, with the floor a gunmetal gray and the walls a metallic yellow, I'll paint the various little bits and bobs with either silver or tinted variations of silver. Finally, I'll paint the tubes with a couple coats of vibrant blues, reds, and greens, then give the entire surface a once-over with a black wash. The wash will tone down the brighter colors and tie them all together while adding some easy recess shading to all the little nooks and crannies. I find when I paint with metallic colors, it's really easy just to cover the entire surface with a very runny wash, and then let it pool where it wants to, since it tends to run off the flat surfaces and leave wonderful streaks and weathering. Last but not least, it's time to add the light to my lights. I'll start by adding a daub of hot glue, then letting it cool down to the point of being useless. Then I can run one of these wobbly spaghetti filaments that I thought would be a perfect stand-in for tube lighting. However, it's held together with duct tape and pare because I ran out of solder. I'll attach the frosted glass, which is just some plastic packaging I scuffed up with sandpaper, and then I can test the connection. And I mean, it works somehow. So I'll string my wires to a battery pack and I can start sticking stuff together. To help line everything up and keep it all in place, I've cut out a square piece of foam board that I can just hot glue each of the sections onto. Then I can finally peel the protective plastic off the mirror, run a thin bead of hot glue around the edge, and stick that sucker in place.
Hello.
Otherwise, with the frame built and the back mirror attached, I can start adding in the cloning vats. Then a couple lines of hot glue along my shelves will let me get my roof in place, then I can attach the front mirror, glue the battery pack out of sight on the back, then attach some foam board around the sides and on top to cover up that unsightly blue foam. Now, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what to put on the front of this box. I even went so far as to make an entire little laboratory complete with little computers and a walkway before deciding that I'd kinda hated it. Which is kind of a shame because I made these hella cute little toad scientists and now I don't know what to do with them. So if you have an idea, then let me know in the comments down below. The problem is that in order for the interior to be visible, the exterior needs to be dark, which means that you either got a great view of the cloning chamber with a black silhouette blocking the view, or you got a bunch of guys in a lab looking at themselves in a mirror. So in the end I just said F it and decided to make a frame. Of course, if I'm gonna ditch a detailed lab and replace it with a frame, then it had better be a good frame. Well, don't worry, this is gonna be the goodest frame. I started by cutting a perfectly sized square out of my thinnest foam, then cutting another square out of the middle, leaving with a lovely little viewport into my box. Then I added some corner pieces and studded them with some teeny tiny, but also big bolts, before adding the Mario World brick blocks to the top of the frame. For the side of the frame, I divided the columns into slightly larger sections and turned each of those squares into the Mario World ground blocks. Eventually I was left with a beautiful blue pixelated frame ready for a coat of black Mod Podge. I followed this with a bright orange base coat, followed by a black wash to tone the orange down and highlight the cracks, a bit more orange to give the bricks some depth, some bone white edge highlighting on the sides, and finally some metal for the corners. And that is my frame. So a couple beads of hot glue around the edge, press it in place, and that's us done, and on to the Glamour Shots. As always, I'd like to take a minute or two to thank the absolute gems over on Patreon that keep this channel running and providing you with top quality second monitor content every week. With a very special shout out to my newest patrons, Carlos Klein, South of the Equator, Sherry Davidson, Tim Emoji Itadori, Adam Minder, Slarty Bartfast, Alika Kia, Boast Magician, Chantel Gallagher, Melissa Navoa, Sabetta, Pair of Pants, Gia Ferrugia, Laughing Bane, Tommy Marino, Daniel Campos, Kajani Celestine, Dominic19983, Super Cyantha, Thomas Drury Wang, Prime Sakura 79, Rashka, Brooke Coley, Wolk86, and Z. You are the reflective surfaces that provide me with the illusion of infinite lives. If you like this video, then you know what to do, and if you don't know what to do, then maybe that's a good thing. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Cheers.